July 19th, 1812. There was a shipyard where 12 warships were being built by the United States in a small hamlet called Sackets Harbor. The population at the time was only a couple hundred people, and the USS Oneida was also docked there. From that ship, Captain Woolsey saw 5 enemy vessels. The Royal George had 24 cannons, the Prince Regent 22, the Earl of Morea 20, the Governor Simcoe 10, and the Seneca, which had 2. With those all pointed at the harbor, the British captured a merchant ship that was carrying flour nearby and sent the crew ashore with the demands: surrender the USS Oneida and Lord Nelson, a merchant ship the U.S. forces had captured before war was declared. They said if a shot was fired at them, the British would burn the village of Sackets Harbor. But the U.S. didn't fire first. The British did. The USS Oneida was trying to escape, but they had to turn around and go back to Navy Point. Hastily, they lined the ships along the shore, trying to provide the shipyard and the town with as much coverage of the cannons as they could. They sent word to the local militias, calling for aid, and by the end of the day, about 3,000 local militia had assembled. The problem for the British was they didn't know what to expect. They were told that this was just a shipyard, nothing here to defend. But they were wrong. Not only did they have the crew of the Oneida, there was also a regiment under Colonel Bellinger and a volunteer company of artillery under Captain Camp, along with the militia. There was also a 32-pound cannon, along with what was on the ships. The only problem with the 32-pound cannon was they only had 24-pound cannonballs, so they used patches with carpets to make them fit. And once the enemy was in range, they were ready. They fired the 32-pounder and missed. And on the shore, they could hear the British laughing at them. It fell short. The British retaliated for 2 hours. The Americans also shot back, both sides inflicting damage. The British's flagship, the Royal George, was hit really hard. There was a shot that went along the entire ship, and the mast was broken. It was then that the British sounded the retreat, and the American band struck up the national tune of Yankee Doodle Dandy. But that wasn't the end of the conflict scene in Sackets Harbor. Stay tuned for the second battle.